He thought she was just a janitor, someone beneath his notice, someone to mock. But what happens when the truth comes out? At this lavish gala, one arrogant businessman is about to face the shock of his life when he humiliates the wrong person, the daughter of the most powerful man in the room. Watch as karma strikes back in the most unexpected way, turning humiliation into a lesson he will never forget. The ballroom of the Savoy Hotel glittered like a jewel box under a canopy of crystal chandeliers. Golden light danced across gilded walls, reflecting off champagne flutes and the polished shoes of London's elite. The air buzzed with laughter, clinking glasses, and the murmur of power deals sealed over caviar. It was Richard Calloway's annual gala, a night of opulence and philanthropy, where billionaires mingled with dignitaries to fund his latest charitable venture, education for underserved youth. The room smelled of wealth, floral arrangements towering over tables, the faint tang of aged scotch, the rustle of silk gowns brushing against tailored tuxedos. Richard Calloway stood near the grand staircase, a silver-haired titan at 62. His presence commanded the space. Tall, broad-shouldered, his navy suit impeccable. As CEO of Calloway Enterprises, he'd built a global empire in tech and real estate. But his true pride was his foundation, a lifeline for kids like the one he'd once been. A scrappy boy from Manchester who'd clawed his way up. Tonight, his smile was warm, but his eyes sharp, scanning the crowd of 200 guests, politicians, CEOs, a smattering of celebrities, all here to bask in his glow. Among them was Ethan Sinclair, 38, a property mogul with a reputation as polished as his Rolex and as brittle as his ego. He leaned against a marble pillar, sipping a martini, his blonde hair slicked back, his smirk permanent. Ethan thrived on status, his penthouse in Mayfair, his fleet of Bentleys, his name in Forbes. He scanned the room with a predator's gaze, dismissing anyone who didn't match his metric of worth. Near the edge of the ballroom, Maya Carter moved quietly, a shadow in the splendor. At 26, she was striking. Dark skin, high cheekbones, eyes that held a quiet fire. But tonight, she blended in, clad in the black uniform of the cleaning staff. A damp cloth in hand, she knelt to wipe a spill of red wine from the hardwood floor, her movements swift and precise. She wasn't here for the spotlight. She was here to watch, to learn, to see the world her father had built from the ground up. The collision was inevitable. Ethan, mid-stride and mid-rant to a hedge fund manager about market plebs, didn't see Maya until her shoulder brushed his arm. His martini sloshed, a single drop staining his pristine white cuff. He froze, then spun on her, his face twisting. "Watch it!" he snapped, loud enough to turn heads. "Do you even know how much this suit costs?" Maya straightened, meeting his glare with calm. "I'm sorry, sir. It was an accident." "An accident?" Ethan's laugh was sharp, venomous. "Right. Figures someone like you wouldn't get it. What are you even doing here? Swiping leftovers? Stick to the broom, sweetheart. Leave the real work to people who matter." The words landed like a slap. A few guests nearby shifted uncomfortably. Two women in pearls exchanged glances. A man in a bow tie coughed into his drink, but no one spoke. Maya's jaw tightened, but she kept her voice steady. "I'm just doing my job." "Your job?" Ethan sneered, stepping closer, his height looming. "Let's be real. You're a dime-a-dozen grunt. Look around. This isn't your world. Stick to scrubbing floors and leave the rest to us." The air thickened. Maya's eyes flickered with something, hurt, then resolve. But before she could respond, a shadow fell over them. Richard Calloway had crossed the room unnoticed until now, his face a mask of controlled fury. He'd seen it all from the staircase. The spill, the outburst, the casual cruelty. "Ethan," Richard said, his voice low, cutting through the hum of the gala like a blade. "A word. Now." Ethan blinked, thrown off balance, but he recovered with a cocky grin. "Richard, didn't see you there. Just handling a little staff issue. Follow me," Richard said, turning toward a private alcove off the ballroom. Ethan shrugged, tossing a dismissive glance at Maya, and trailed after him. The crowd parted, whispers rippling in their wake. In the alcove, velvet curtains muffled the party's noise. Richard faced Ethan, his gaze icy. "What the hell was that?" Ethan chuckled, loosening his tie. "Come on, Richard. She's just some cleaner. Spilled on me, acted like it was nothing. I put her in her place." Richard's hand clenched at his side. "Her place," he repeated, each word deliberate. "You don't know a damn thing about her place. That woman you just humiliated, that's Maya, my daughter." The air sucked out of the room. Ethan's grin vanished, his face draining to chalk. "Your what?" "My daughter," Richard said, stepping closer. "She's been working tonight, voluntarily, to see this world from the bottom up, something you'd never understand, and you just treated her like trash because of a uniform." Ethan stammered. I didn't know." "That's the problem," Richard cut in. "You didn't need to know. You saw someone you thought was beneath you and let loose. I've known you for years, Ethan. Your deals, your bravado, but this is who you are when no one's watching. And it's ugly." Ethan's mouth opened, then shut. Humiliation burned in his chest, mingling with defiance. "Richard, I'm sorry, okay? I didn't mean—" "Save it," Richard said. "You've got a choice. I'm launching a leadership program. Diversity, empathy, real accountability. You join it, put in the work, or you're out. No more contracts, no more partnerships. I don't do business with people who'd spit on my kid and call it a Tuesday." Ethan stared, the weight of the ultimatum sinking in. Richard didn't bluff. This wasn't just about tonight. It was about everything he'd built, everything he stood to lose. He nodded, mute, and Richard walked out, leaving him alone with the echo of his own words. Back in the ballroom, Maya stood near a window, gazing at the Thames glittering beyond the glass. Ethan approached, hesitant, his swagger gone. "Maya," he said, voice rough. I'm sorry. I was an ass." She turned, her expression unreadable. "You were, but it's not about me. It's about everyone you've ever looked down on. Everyone you've dismissed because they don't fit your mold. You're not sorry because it's me. You're sorry because you got caught." Ethan flinched, her words slicing deeper than Richard's. "That's fair," he said after a pause. "I don't know how to fix it, but I want to try." Maya studied him, then nodded. "Then do it. Not for my dad, not for your deals, for yourself. Figure out who you want to be, Ethan. Because this?" She gestured faintly at the room. "It's not enough." The gala spun on, music swelling, glasses clinking, but for Ethan, it faded to static. He left early, slipping into the cool London night, his Bentley waiting at the curb. He didn't climb in. Instead, he walked, the city's pulse thumping around him. Black cabs, neon signs, strangers brushing past. Maya's voice lingered, a challenge he couldn't shake. Weeks later, he enrolled in Richard's program. Not out of fear, but curiosity. then conviction. He sat through sessions on bias, listened to stories from people he'd never have noticed before, a janitor with a master's degree, a single mom who'd outworked him twice over. Slowly, painfully, he unraveled the man he'd been, arrogant, blind, and started building something new. He volunteered at Richard's foundation, mentored kids from estates like the ones he'd once mocked. It wasn't redemption, not yet. Just a start. Months passed. At the next gala, Ethan stood in the same ballroom, quieter now, his Rolex swapped for a plain watch. He spotted Maya across the room, not in uniform this time, but a sleek emerald dress, laughing with guests. Their eyes met, and she gave a small nod. Not forgiveness, but acknowledgement. He nodded back, then turned to a waiter, offering a genuine thanks for a drink. Outside, London sprawled under a starry sky, flawed and restless. Ethan stepped into it, a man in progress, while Maya watched from the window, her own path unfolding. The world didn't change that night, but two people did, and that was enough to crack the glass.